What is up, everybody? Hope you guys are all having a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you happen to be. This is going to be the start of our bi-weekly Aleph Zero ecosystem updates through Genfinity. As some of you guys may know, Genfinity does have a media partnership with Aleph Zero. So certainly not financial advice, but I do believe that if you are looking for information on Aleph Zero, but don't want to do all the research by yourself, this is going to be kind of a really solid tool for you guys. We kind of comprehensively put together all of the ecosystem updates within Aleph Zero on a bi-weekly basis. We also do a lot of podcasts and other things, so should be able to highlight some key points within the Aleph Zero ecosystem for you guys in a really short segment, so you don't have to do tons and tons of research. Again, not financial advice, but I'm going to hop right in, guys. First and foremost, if you guys are interested, check out genfinity.io. You will see these bi-weekly recaps as well as podcasts and some of the other work that we are doing on a consistent basis. I'm going to reach in, though, here because I think there's some interesting stuff and developments to go through. Notably, I'll say that we did a podcast with Deutsche Telekom and Aleph Zero a few weeks ago. Deutsche Telekom validates a number of blockchains, but interestingly enough, them validating the Aleph Zero network is the first time that they are validating a network that has kind of programmable privacy enhancing technology kind of built or baked into the network as well. So that's pretty interesting. And I'm going to share with you just a quick audio clip of Max from Deutsche Telekom talking about or potentially dropping some alpha that without going way too into the weeds of some things that Aleph Zero and Deutsche Telekom might be working on together. So Aleph Zero ecosystem, key developments and what to watch next. This is just the latter half of March for you guys. First and foremost, we did this Deutsche Telekom podcast, a focus on performance and privacy, validating Aleph Zero, bridging the gap between Web 2 and Web 3, regulatory compliance aspects that have meaningful layers of privacy that can be built in, I think is very important. So not necessarily a privacy network, but a network that supports privacy initiatives in a meaningful way, which I think is certainly one of the things that is going to become more and more a hot topic as a distributed ledger technology becomes more widely adopted. Hopping right in here, AZERO.id also had some pretty big news. I'm going to get into Deutsche Telekom in a second here. So this is for those that are either staking or validating the Aleph Zero network, or staking on or validating the Aleph Zero network. As of March 19th, staking and validation on Aleph Zero got a whole lot smoother. Integration with AZERO ID is live, which allows validators to personalize profiles with biographies, descriptions, avatars, custom links. This, along with short, secure profile links, makes referencing validators a breeze. Check out AZERO ID, AZERO.live as well with all the staking and validating information. But AZERO ID, these guys, I've interviewed these guys a number of times. Mike and the team over there are really great to talk to. Certainly focused on privacy enhancing tech, obviously like the Ethereum name server stuff. This is kind of Aleph Zero's version of that as well. Also, network update. So this is testnet Zahir update reduces transaction fees on Aleph Zero by a staggering 10 times, paving the way for high frequency activity on the network. The major move prepares the ecosystem for larger scale adoption, slashing the transaction fees by a whopping 10x. I mean, one thing to think of here is looking at networks that may have been around since 2016, 2015. Nothing against, Ethereum, things like that. But as mass adoption occurs and enterprise adoption occurs, I always have to ask myself, as these enterprises and financial institutions are more and more widely adopting distributed ledger technology, are they going to be willing to eat, $5 fees for every transaction, 30, 40, 50, $1,000 fees for a transaction, things like that? Or is, cost effectiveness going to still be a big part of their business models? I would choose the latter, at least you would think so, common sense wise. So 10x cheaper on Aleph Zero now, which is great. Common, so the cheapest swaps on layer ones or on a layer one. Common is kind of the DEX play through Aleph Zero. It also has some interesting privacy features as well that these guys are working on. I believe they're kind of simultaneously going through periods of auditing. I think I saw that maybe the front end or maybe it was the back end was audited a few weeks ago, but check out Common at get_common if you're interested. Developer languages, obviously very, very important. There's multiple developer languages out there for building into Web3. And now Solidity contracts are now supported on Aleph Zero. So this is Solang. Moving forward to Paris Blockchain Week, Aleph Zero is sponsoring Paris Blockchain Week, which is awesome. I mean, notably, there's probably a handful of really important, crypto events on an annual basis. You can think Consensus, you can think Token, 2049, and some of these other things. Paris Blockchain Week, certainly big. A lot of big initiatives, a lot of big players at Paris Blockchain Week as well. This is coming right off of the heels of Consensus as well. This is co-founder Anthony Zolciak bringing his expertise to the BaaS, or Blockchain as a Service, Fueling Innovation and Enterprise Solutions panel, which is on April 9th at 10:40 a.m. set. I'm not going to pronounce the location because I will mispronounce it, but Paris Blockchain Week, April 9th through 11th, 2024. The MOST, and it's pronounced MOST from my understanding, this is essentially the bridge between Aleph Zero and Ethereum. The MOST, but I'll just say MOST for this video, it's easier. The MOST testnet release is a crucial bridge between Aleph Zero and Ethereum, and it's nearing completion. An external audit for MOST, began March 19th alongside the testnet release, and this audit by Hatz Finance aims to provide thorough and impartial scrutiny of the bridge's security, efficiency, and compliance within industry standards. Other notable developments within the past couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to get into the Deutsche Telekom aspects here, as well as a SocialFi panel that we did with Pangea, which comes from the Aleph Zero ecosystem. It was a cross-chain panel. But other developments within Aleph Zero recently joined us on a cross-chain podcast, like I just mentioned. Aleph Zero will be attending Token 2049 event in Dubai on April 18th and 19th. The event will showcase over 300 speakers and 400 events. Upcade.xyz launching a first-person shooter game where you can compete and win AZERO. And launching on April 2nd, the ABAX Ambassador Program is empowering community members to become advocates for ABAX and the Aleph Zero ecosystem. ABAX is a lending protocol within Aleph Zero. All right, to get into some of the meat here, and feel free to drop your comments down below, guys. I mean, this to me is kind of a really easy, maybe streamlined approach of giving you guys kind of some bi-weekly comprehensive, here's a heads up of what's going on within Aleph Zero. So let me know what your thoughts are. If you like this type of content, if you want us to continue this type of content, gonna follow this up with some of the podcasts that we do, not only with Aleph Zero, but when we bring Aleph Zero projects onto some cross-chain panels. This was a podcast that we did with Anthony Zolciak, Matt Niemerg, so both co-founders of Aleph Zero, as well as Deutsche Telekom, Max from Deutsche Telekom. And, notably, he talks about potentially some B2C or B2B, business to consumer or business to business applications in tandem that might be being developed behind the scenes with Aleph Zero and Deutsche Telekom. If you guys are not aware of how big Deutsche Telekom is, just do a quick Google search. But when you think of companies like T-Mobile, they fall under the umbrella. So certainly one of the largest telecoms, if not the largest telecom network in the world. And we're going to go into this quick sound bite here for you guys.
I had, so I don't know exactly when the communication started, but since last year, November, we are live as a validator on Aleph Zero. And we always aim to have a deep connection with the foundations, for example, now interacting with the community. And in the past, we did also events, and maybe there's also something lying upon us with Aleph Zero together. To really figure out, we as an infrastructure provider, not only, but also with a huge customer base in B2B and B2C, how can we leverage those new connections, those new possibilities with different Web3 projects.
There you go. We did a really kind of deep breakdown. I'll try to post the links in here for you guys too, the bi-weekly update links, the Genfinity link, and we did more of a breakdown on the Aleph Zero Deutsche Telekom interview as well that kind of really dives into the weeds here. A lot of talk about, kind of this transition from Web 2 to Web 3. Web 2, for those of you guys listening that might not be aware, I mean, think about the internet as we know it right now. That would be your Web 2. Web 3 is, think about the internet right now, but injecting in, value with blockchain and distributed ledger technology. So I like to think of it as simply as possible as the internet was pretty much the internet of information, and Web 3, the internet of value, is the internet of information plus all of the financial empowerment aspects that come along with the technology. So last but not least here, want to get into this. So we did a cross-chain SocialFi panel between We had actually a lot of different networks, not just Aleph Zero and Pangea, which is an Aleph Zero project, so give these guys a follow. But we had Discover, which is Solana. We had Swap, which is Internet Computer. We had Solo and Galaxy from Hedera. We had Zerpay, XRP, the standard production, so XRPL. And yeah, Pangea, obviously Aleph Zero. So I really like, and Kieran is one of the founders at Pangea. He has a really interesting take on, kind of where Web 2 and the monetization of people has kind of taken us. And one of the goals that Pangea has, again, not financial advice or any of this stuff, but one of the goals that Pangea has is to kind of bring the empowerment back to the people. Really kind of, interesting viewpoint. So I'm going to play this for you briefly here, and then we'll wrap this one up.
The whole question that you're bringing up, Solomon, in a different way, which is, let's look at what Web 2 has done to people. I think one thing I always say about Web 2 is it's interesting because it has this effect on all content, and all content on Web 2 eventually becomes advertising. And this has an effect on creators, and it turns them narcissistic. What do I mean by that? Well, if we look at the legend of Narcissus didn't fall in love with himself. He fell in love with an image of himself that he saw in the water. So all content creators, they have all the value stripped out of their content, their creativity, their stories, and they're made to externalize it. What can it sell? How much engagement can it drive? What kind of sponsorships can they get behind it? What kind of brand drops can they have in their story? And it's even got to the stage now with late stage capital, where increasingly it seems like your value is now connected to your network. We're seeing these applications that are coming out, like micro-influencer networking kind of stuff, where you get paid $200 because you've got 4,000 followers on LinkedIn, and you'll be able to promote a product or a SaaS application or something like that. So increasingly, we're having the value of ourselves ripped away and externalized. What I think we have the opportunity to do with Web3, and what we really want to do with Pangea, is put the value back into creativity. It's an old model. We always used to have it. People used to pay for books, for art, for music, for all kinds of things. And we're just asking that people pay for it so that, just like the guy said before, that people can have sustainable lives and sustainable jobs doing the things that they love, and being able to challenge like these centralized systems of control, mainly the financial system. And in order to do that, we have to separate them out from this machine that's going on and give them the dignity and the value back. We have to give them a place where their stories can be heard, and their stories like outside of the reference of business. I mean, one thing that I heard the other day that was...
There you go, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, from Genfinity standpoint, we are doing these bi-weekly kind of recaps as far as written content within Aleph Zero. And for us, I think it makes sense to kind of branch out and give you guys a heads up of all things Aleph Zero on a bi-weekly basis from a kind of an audio-visual standpoint as well. Because if you've been here long enough in Web3, distributed ledger, all the things that come along with it, you find out pretty quickly that most people aren't willing to do their own research. Most people aren't willing to read. So I think that it makes sense to kind of branch out here and start doing some video content as well. Again, not financial advice from us. I hope you guys enjoyed these. If you have thoughts or comments or suggestions on potentially how we could do these better, or include some different things, we are all ears for you guys. Check out genfinity.io. And that being said, we will talk to you guys when we talk to you. Thanks. Bye.